on this note, I would like to start with our first question to the panelists that will be talking a lot from their heart, so because there's a lot to share. So we have a first open question. Can you please share your sustainability fashion journey, and what are you passionate about this circular fashion? What are the what has this how has this movement of collaboration, how is COVID affecting our circular collaboration vision of this industry? So let's start with Maria Teresa, please. Maria Teresa, you need to unmute. There we go.
Yes, good morning, Laura. Good morning, everyone from Geneva. Can you hear me well?
Yes. Hello, Maria Teresa.
Hello, good morning, Adriana. Good morning. So first of all, I would like to thank Hecho for Nosotros and Animana for the invitation to this great roundtable this morning, and to congratulate also for this event at the high-level political forum of the UN in New York. This is actually an excellent opportunity, you know, to move forward the discussion and the collaboration and actual action to advance sustainability and circularity in the industry. So let me start first of all with why the fashion industry needs to take this journey and needs to accelerate its pace towards sustainability and circularity. And why at the United Nations and at UNECE in Geneva, we have decided to support this effort, and we are passionate about it. So first of all, as Laura was mentioning, fashion is one of the biggest industries, more than 2.5 trillion US dollars, and in terms of annual turnover, and an industry employing more than 60 million people directly globally. It is also an industry which has an extremely complex value chain, extremely fragmented, with production facilities scattered all over the world, and more than half of them are actually small actors, are small SMEs. So, and we saw actually how this complexity has added to the impacts of the COVID-19 crisis, and I'm sure we'll be able to tackle, this such impacts today. So, take for instance your cotton T-shirt. The cotton is produced and harvested in one country, is spun in another one, is dyed and processed in a different one, and converted in a garment far away from the store where we all are going to purchase it. At the same time, we all know, and as it was already mentioned at the opening, impacts and risks along this complex value chain are there and are well documented. On the environmental side, water consumption, CO2 emissions, and huge volumes of product waste, if we want to talk about the need to move towards circularity. Waste of which only 20% is currently recycled. On the social side, just to give you some figures, 9 out of 10 girls employed in the clothing industry in emerging economies earn less than a living wage, a wage to have a decent life. And we should not forget the health and safety dimension, because there is scientific evidence that about 8% of the dermatological diseases that we suffer from are caused by the clothing we wear. So these are all risks and impacts that are highly relevant to the achievement of the SDGs of the 2030 agenda. I mean, this is actually the framework, the overall umbrella where all this action is coming in. Just to mention a few, SDG 12 on responsible consumption and production, SDG 8 on decent work and inclusive growth, SDG 13 on climate action, SDG 15 on sustainable use of natural resources and life on Earth. And SDG 5, not to forget, about gender and empowerment and of women and girls. So basically, it's an industry that is impacting widely, a wide spectrum of targets under several SDGs of the 2030 agenda. At the same time, all these risk impacts are clearly documented. There is clear scientific evidence, lots of evidence out there. So the work needs to be done. I would say it's clear. We all agree about it. It's time to discuss and to come up with concrete solutions on how to do it, on how to move and accelerate this path towards sustainability and circularity. Actually, there has been over the last years a more and more intense discussion on the how and what solutions need to be put in place. And actually, industry leaders, as part of this conversation, and key actors for the industry, academia, NGOs, think tanks, governments, the business sector, manufacturers, have come up with the list of priorities, including resource efficiency, decent working conditions, better wages, sustainable material mix, because this is what we want to hear about when we talk about circularity, Industry 4.0, because there's definitely technological advancement and innovative technologies can play an important role, and this is what we are going also to discuss today. On top of the list is the traceability and transparency of such complex value chains as an important enabling factor and a sort of precondition to achieve and to move on all these priorities. Why so? Why this is on top of the list? Because definitely it's not yet the case. It's only about 30% of the companies that know their value chain, and most of them only know about their immediate clients and suppliers. So in fact, many companies have a very limited view of the network of the business partners within their value chains and do not get the full story beyond their products. I mean, beyond the clothing they put on the market. They don't really know how and where they are made and by whom. So this requires actually collaboration, and we come to one of the key words for the event today: collaboration of all industry partners. No one really can achieve it alone. A deployment of common approaches and reliable technical solutions in a widely different environment. But why, if I may, transparency and traceability are a key priority? I mean, there is a number of reasons for that. First of all, the need to enhance consumers' trust. There is a lot of evidence that consumers are willing to pay, for more sustainable products and products that are done more responsibly. However, they do not trust yet the information and the claims that the industry makes about these products and the way they have been produced. So an issue of trust. Second, better management of reputational risks. And we have seen that a lot of brands have been on the spot and have been put on the spot by media. So knowing your value chain, knowing the network of your business partners definitely help industry actors to have more responsible business conduct and really exercise due diligence. Then a more efficient management of resources and inventories. This is also an important priority, an important need that traceability, transparency, better knowledge of the value chain help to achieve. And finally, also I would say the issue of counterfeiting. Some of the brands are quite concerned about it, so traceability, transparency also help with that. I mean, these are the needs that in the conversation with the industry we came across. Of course, a lot of challenges are out there. Transparency, traceability do not come at zero cost. There is a cost for doing that and for achieving that. And it is a cost, related, of course, to privacy of data is one of the concern, but also in terms, and I would say a very important one, in terms of access to the supporting approaches and technologies that need to be addressed. And this is especially in the upstream part of the value chain, when we talk about vulnerable groups, small actors, SMEs that are based in emerging economies and that have very low margin actually to cover such costs. So how to distribute the cost of doing sustainability, traceability, transparency, circularity along the value chain is definitely a key concern.
Well, thank you very much. That is really very, very inspiring. And I think that you gave us so much food for thought and action plan.